What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Main Event Review. You're back with Daniel from Australia. Hope you guys are doing all right. We are on the week of WrestleMania, and first of all, last week there was no sort of main event show, so unfortunately I couldn't record anything, and today's is obviously a little bit late because I've just come down with a massive headache and have just recovered from it. But it's sort of a blessing because we were able to sort of see the final episode of Raw, which will lead to my WrestleMania preview along with the main event review as well. But first things first, as someone that does obviously watch main event and review it every week, there is finally something that has happened that has sort of related to the main storyline, and that is the five men that qualified for that ladder match for the Intercontinental title. JD McDonough, Javon Evans, Rusev, and Dragon Lee. Obviously, Penta's the title holder himself. So the five men won their matches on main event to qualify. So they used main event to lead up to what happened at WrestleMania. And you know what? I'm kind of happy about that. And I'm kind of happy main event was used. If you checked the episode last week, obviously we saw the highlights. Like the episode didn't come out, but you had like all the matches that occurred. So if you want to go check that out, be sure to do so, because the caveat to it obviously is that when those matches occurred, we didn't know that would lead to them being in the Intercontinental title ladder match for WrestleMania. But the more you know, if that was the case, I would have been able to review it a lot differently, but the matches stand the same. And it seemed as though those five men that were on main event, it was their destiny, and that was their storyline to go to WrestleMania. Because we always talk about, you know, what's going on with these main event stars, what's their plans for WrestleMania, and, you know, there were some clear plans there from WWE to use main event to make this match. So that's cool in itself. But again, hopefully they can do that in the future, and next time maybe Triple H can let me know about it before so we can, you know, get more excited and get main event to be more exciting too. And things like this makes main event more exciting. And it's a great way to use main event. If you want to create a random ass match and you don't have time on main TV to sort of justify it, put it on main event. And that will allow people to watch it and also give meaning to why things have occurred. But main event has been used as a story path to WrestleMania, which is exciting. But we do have two matches to review this week, and then we obviously have WrestleMania to review as well and preview, which I'm excited about. So the first match being Alex Shelley taking on Apollo Crews. We had Alex Shelley getting the victory there with his sort of finisher. Finally seeing him in a singles match, which was quite good. It's a nice little finisher. I did honestly forget the name of it, but he crawls up onto the corner and then sort of does a backflip. It's like a back neck breaker sort of thing. But he gets the victory, defeating Apollo Crews. None of them are going to WrestleMania. We are seeing beef between Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those two as well. But Alex Shelley's obviously been, you know, sticking up for Johnny Gargano, and Chris Sabin's not happy about it. But, you know, he gets a victory here. That probably puts them into more sort of driving for their storyline, whatever happens. And then you've obviously got Apollo Crews, who continues to just lose. He's become a jobber now. It's real sad. The fall off has to be studied, because I'm a big fan of Apollo Crews, but he just doesn't seem to get any good breaks at the moment. So that's that match. And then we had probably one of the matches of the night, and to be honest, a match really good. I haven't seen in a long time. Joaquin Wilde, he's got a crazy hairstyle, I've got to say, taking on the original El Grande Americano. I think both El Grande Americanos got robbed of a WrestleMania card, whether they were going to verse each other. It looks like in AAA they're going to be taking each other on for the mask. So that's going to be a massive match there. And yeah, I think the original is going to lose and go back to Chad Gable. I think it just makes sense. El Grande Americano is doing a lot more at AAA. He's the bigger guy. He's the one that they love. I like the fact that they intertwine them within WWE, as the original is the babyface at WWE and he's a heel at AAA, and it's the opposite for El Grande Americano. So I think we're going to see El Grande win that and the original go back to Chad Gable. I think it makes more sense. But I would have loved to see these two guys hack it out at WrestleMania. But I think the platform has been made for Triple R. So I can't fault it, but it would have been nice maybe getting at least one of these Americanos into the ladder match and the other sort of interfering. But I digress. We have this match to go on, and the original El Grande Americano wins this match. It was a great balance of someone being a powerhouse in El Grande Americano and someone being an athletic beast in Joaquin Wilde, who, you know, he struggles with sort of character work, but he's just really, really good in the ring. And he just proved it again. His athletic ability is second to none. His moves are incredible. He just had the perfect speed and pace. And these guys, you know, you can tell they really worked well together. So got to give credit where credit's due there for the original El Grande Americano, who obviously definitely needed this victory, because if you're going to, you know, relate it to what's happening on AAA, you need him to win. So he has the most momentum. But, you know, lots of near falls, lots of really good things. Like that German suplex onto the turnbuckle in the corner. The fact that Joaquin Wilde was able to hit the top rope, roll down safely, and that move executed safely was just so cool to see. And, you know, both guys, you know, balled out. And I got to give credit where credit's due with these two. And I know it's not going to translate to WrestleMania, but when we go and look at pure wrestling matches, we get excited when we see things like this. And this is what wrestling's about. Sometimes just to see a great display, performance display. And that's what we saw here with El Grande, the original, getting the victory there. And, you know, that's a quick main event sort of review as we go quickly on to WrestleMania, where I'm going to review night 1 and night 2, who I think is going to win, why I think they're going to win, where some I've got really big split opinions on, and I'll explain why, and others I think I've got a clear chance. But I'll also go with sort of, and it's bad, it's sort of cheating, but looking at like betting odds as well. There are some betting odds on like Australian sports bet that have like the odds there for who they think is going to win too, and then I'll just sort of relate that to storyline as well. So we'll start with the first night. In the first 2 hours, obviously, if you're international like myself, you just see it on Netflix. It's a lot easier. But for the guys that are on ESPN, you got to watch it on ESPN2 first in America, and then lead on to ESPN for the rest. But it starts with the 6-man tag match between The Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, and ISO Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. Obviously, ISO Speed is in here because of his sort of outreach. You know, he's one of the biggest YouTubers and live streamers in the world. And, you know, he's done some pretty good stuff in ring, like taking that spear for Bron Breakker. You've got to give respect there. And also, he's very athletic. So I'm interested to see how he'll go into the ring in this match. I hope he can cut it with the best. But the favourites are saying Uso and LA Knight's going to win, and I think that's going to be the case because of the fact that you got a celebrity in there. And I think the point of this is for ISO Speed to get his receipt and not be defended by Logan Paul and Austin Theory. And that will also lead to the Usos having unfinished business for those titles and getting their rematch, because they haven't able to do it, because they wanted to include ISO Speed, and they obviously still wanted to include LA Knight into this as well. And I think that's the only way to do it. This isn't a big opportunity for LA Knight to stand up, potentially get the pin, and get the push this year that he deserves, because those botches, they have put him down big time. And like, I don't want to see LA Knight botch, but when you see it too many times, you have to start to question whether he can be a world heavyweight champion. And I want to see that, but I want to also see him not botch something. And if he can't and has a really good match, I think that will make him have a really good start and give him good momentum going forward as well. And then we've got Jacob Fatu taking on Drew McIntyre. I expect Jacob Fatu to win this one. Only reason being is because I don't think it does enough for Drew. I think Drew's obviously done a lot, and this doesn't make him better or make him worse whether he wins or loses. If he loses, he continues to go on to this guilty, like blaming everyone, victim playing psychopath, which is, I think, what he's honing into. Obviously, he got robbed of being a champion, but it does hone into sort of his character and the way he gets screwed over, and I think this is another opportunity for them to do that. It could lead to potentially a Nick Aldis feud with Drew McIntyre, where he's had enough with WWE authorities and GMs. And, you know, we've seen it with Gunther when he took on Pat McAfee, so why won't we be able to see it with Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis? They've obviously had a lot of history together, both British, both growing up in the Indies, so I'm not against it. And I think Jacob Fatu, probably the reason why they didn't make this a fatal 4-way is because the match probably wasn't big enough for him, or was too big for him, and it wasn't big enough for him. I mean, it was too big for him to be a main eventer this early on. So, you know, I think Fatu gets the victory here, gives him a lot of momentum. I think he needs it, and I think a match beating Drew McIntyre will do a lot more for him than Drew McIntyre, and than him losing. I think it'll affect him a lot more. So that's why I'm going with Jacob Fatu. And then we've got the women's tag team fatal 4-way match with Nia Jax/Legend, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Balor Twins. I think that Bayley and Lyra will win this one. I think they thoroughly deserve it. I think the way they've sort of built up this match, these guys being a late inclusion and always getting robbed of opportunities, I think gives them the opportunity to win this one. And the reason why I say that is because, one, I don't want to see the Balor Twins win it. I don't think they deserve it for obvious reasons. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, they're both unbelievable superstars. I don't think they need the titles to still be relevant and big. And I think Lash Legend is paving her own way as a single star. So I don't think they also need the championships either. But they could very much retain. So, I'm not going to rule that out. I think if Bayley and Lyra don't win, I would say Nia Jax and Lash Legend win and retain the titles. Because a lot of these odds have new champions on every single one. And I don't think that's going to happen either. And then we've got one of the hardest matches to predict. AJ Lee taking on Becky Lynch. Either or, whoever wins or loses can move on to bigger and better things, and whoever wins can sort of continue to still elevate the title. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch on this one, and the only reason why I'm going to say that is because I think AJ Lee is not going to be full-time and be available to sort of attend every Raw. Becky Lynch will, so she'll be able to elevate the title, and I think AJ Lee, they need to move her on to new things. And I think new things are people like Roxanne Perez, like Liv Morgan, like Rhea Ripley, like anyone. They can battle her with literally anyone. And I think that her being involved in those feuds would be very interesting as well. And I think AJ Lee's got a lot of unfinished business, or even started business with a lot of people. And Becky Lynch, I think, has done a really good job in continuing to elevate the title. They just got to find a really good opponent for her. And then we've got Seth Rollins against Gunther. Obviously, this match was made because they had directions for these two, but it just didn't seem to work out for them due to injury. So that's why we're having them together. And I think Gunther's going to get the victory because Bron Breakker is going to be involved in this match somehow. I think he makes his return, and that's how we have Gunther getting the victory. I think he wasn't medically clear enough to actually wrestle and compete, but medically clear enough to just get involved in the match. So that's why I think Gunther's going to win, because Paul Heyman's going to have something up his sleeve. And if that's not Bron Breakker returning or Bronson Reed, it wouldn't make sense, because I think that's what we were hoping to see, Seth Rollins taking on Bron Breakker. And now we need to get that storyline back up and running. And what better way to start than, interfering with this match, giving Gunther the victory, making Gunther look powerful, not hurting Seth Rollins completely. And we just move on from there continuously. And then we've got Stephanie Vaquer taking on Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan wins this one. I think she's just unbelievable, deserves to be champion, and, has done really well to push this feud. Stephanie Vaquer has done really well there, although she was very clumsy last week, butting heads with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, I think was not good. But I think Liv Morgan goes out the victorious one here, and we get to see a really good run with her because, she's incredible. She's probably one of the best divas not divas, I shouldn't say that. She's the best women in the division by far. So yeah, they're definitely not divas. They've far exceeded being divas, to be honest, the way they perform in rings. So Liv Morgan sort of deserves that, and I think deserves to sort of have a big title run as a heel too. And then we've got Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton with bloody Pat McAfee. Oh, it's so frustrating. ESPN have obviously put their hands in this one for sure to get Pat McAfee as one of the main guys. It's obviously their first WrestleMania pay-per-view, so they have to get one of their own to be involved. There is no need for him to be involved. He's really taking out the sort of rivalry and the joy of this sort of feud, because there's a lot of history between these two, and it's just been all about Pat McAfee, which is super annoying. He did say to Cody Rhodes that if Randy Orton loses, he'll never hear from him again and be a part of the business, so that's why I think Randy Orton's going to win. It's also the fact that Randy Orton is going as a heel. It's his first match as a heel, and, I think he deserves number 15 as well for all the stuff he's done. So I think Randy Orton will come out victorious there. And then we have night 2, where we have Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio, who was a late inclusion, but a well-deserved conclusion into this match. I'm really excited for this. I really love ladder matches, and I think this one's going to be an amazing show. All of these guys possess very good athletic traits. Rusev is probably different to the others in terms of him being more of a powerhouse rather than a high flyer, but I think he's going to offer a lot. I think the spots in here are going to be amazing. And again, I'm proud that it's, qualifies from the main event matches. So for whatever that's worth. In terms of favorites, a lot of people are saying Javon Evans is the favorite. I'm tossing between him winning it and Penta retaining. And I'm going to go with Penta retaining. I think Javon Evans winning would be good. He'd be one of the youngest champions ever. But I think Penta hasn't done enough with this title run to just lose it like that. He recently got it. I think he deserves to keep it for a lot longer. And that's why I'm going with Penta. But I'm keen for this one. I think this could be one of the matches of the night. And then we've got Obafemi taking on Brock Lesnar, where I have Obafemi squashing Brock Lesnar. I don't think it's just going to be a victory. I think it's going to be a squash. There's so many things on the card, and, you know, I definitely think, look, and if you look at the timing, right, the first hour, right, let's just say it's the first hour on ESPN, these two matches. A ladder match could go much longer than 30 minutes. I don't think, like, by the time the entrances come out, that's about 5 to 10 minutes of that. And then you've got the match itself, which is like another 30 or 40 minutes. That will leave about 20 to 30 minutes of Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, where I don't think they're going to take up 30 minutes of wrestling, especially at Brock Lesnar's age. There is no need for him to win. We obviously are seeing rumors that it's his last year, but this is very much about making Obafemi a star. And by making him a star is by squashing Brock Lesnar. And I think that's what's going to happen here. And I think it would make the most sense if that happened as well. We then have the United States Championship match between Sami Zayn and Trick Williams. Again, I wish Carmelo Hayes was in this match. But if it's just going to be between these two, I still feel for Carmelo Hayes. He deserves to be in this spot. But I'm going to give it to Trick Williams. I think Trick Williams will win the United States Championship and beat Sami Zayn as well. I think a lot of people are, you know, loving Trick Williams. His chant, his charismatic, and his character, his charm. And I know he's a bit of his ego as well. I think he deserves it. And a lot of people are turning away to Sami Zayn and are tired to see him like this. So this might tip him off the edge, turn him heel, and we get Trick Williams fit and firing. And that will lead to potentially a feud with Carmelo Hayes, which is something we're excited to see. And then we've got the Demon Finn Balor taking on Dom Mysterio. Look, if you're bringing out the Demon, there is no chance you make him lose his first match as the Demon, like especially against Dominic Mysterio. Finn Balor is going to win this match. Bringing the Demon back is awesome. I would have liked to see it not revealed before, and it just happened once he entered WrestleMania. That would have been a lot more cooler. A lot of people would have been excited. But nevertheless, Finn Balor will win this as the Demon, and that's just the main reason why, I think. And then we've got the Women's Championship match. This is another one that's hard to call. The build-up has been incredible, and, you know, I've been a big fan of it. I think Jade Cargill should retain, though. I don't think Rhea Ripley deserves to win it. They might do it, but I think Jade Cargill has shown enough in this feud to continue to go on and, you know, build herself up. So that's why I'm going with Rhea. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea wins, to be honest. Going with Jade, instead of Rhea. I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea wins, but I think Jade gets it. And then we've got the main event, and that is CM Punk taking on Roman Reigns. And I think Roman Reigns gets the victory here. The reason why I say this is because I think something has to go down. There has to be something significant that goes down at the end. Because if there isn't, we're going to be looking at a really disappointing WrestleMania. And I think, you know, the war of words has been great. But I think Roman Reigns, you know, he's the big star. I think he gets the victory. I can just see it happening. I don't know how else he doesn't win. I know CM Punk is incredible, but I just think Roman Reigns gets it done. Maybe some outside help will do it, but something needs to happen for this to sort of give him the victory here. I strongly believe that. But yeah, there you have it. That's actually your WrestleMania review in the end. So again, guys, you know, thank you for tuning into this episode. I hope you guys enjoy WrestleMania. I'm a bit worried about obviously how the build has been and how this could end. Like, especially given Triple H and TKO's track record, they've always hyped us up and made us feel disappointing. But this time they haven't really hyped this up. So maybe our expectations should be low, but they're always going to be high come WrestleMania. So I'm expecting to see some shocks and surprises, and I really hope that happens. But again, it's been your boy Daniel. You listen to another episode of the Main Event Review, and I hope you guys enjoy WrestleMania. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. so you don't miss a show. Or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.